Talk about the LA Lakers because they introduced their newest draft picks yesterday. They used the 17th pick on Dalton Knecht and the 55th pick on Bronny James, whose father is a prominent figure in the organization. Bronny and his new head coach, J.J. Redick, who used to work here, talked about all the expectations and his developmental plan.
It's for sure amplified amount of pressure. I've already seen it, stuff, media and stuff in the internet and stuff, talking about I might not deserve an opportunity, but you know, I've been dealing with stuff like this for my whole life. So it's nothing different, but it's more amplified for sure. But I can get through it.
Bronny has earned this through hard work, and for us, prioritizing player development, we view Bronny as like case study one, because his base level of feel, athleticism, point of attack defender, shooting, passing, there's a lot to like about his game. And as we sort of build out our player development program holistically, he's going to have a great opportunity to become an excellent NBA player.
So there you go with head coach J.J. Redick outlining the plan for Bronny, or at least referencing it. Bobby, as our front office insider, tell us a little bit more about what exactly you think Bronny's NBA onboarding process is going to look like.
Well, Dan, I almost look at it like his freshman year, what could have been his freshman year at USC here, where he missed 6 months with a cardiac incident and came into really an uneven year. So it's really starting from the ground zero and kind of working its way up here. He'll go to Summer League in Sacramento. He'll be with the team in Las Vegas here, but Bronny James is a developmental project. Right now, I would not expect him to see significant minutes next season with the Lakers. I wouldn't even expect to see him probably see significant minutes year two. He'll be on the floor, certainly with their he should be on the floor with their South Bay Lakers team. And from there, his niche is going to be the ability to defend. How he makes it in this league is to be an elite level defender right now.
Alan, you were watching this and thinking about the idea. I mean, obviously he's the 55th pick in the draft and receiving an amount of attention that pick doesn't usually get for reasons that have a lot to do with whose son he is. But you were looking at it through the lens of a father.
Yeah, let's start there. I love the holistic approach that JJ is going to take here. Let's start with that. So we'll do some meditation, maybe. Who knows? But I just, for a minute, when you listen to the young man speak, listen to what he's saying, that he has already been living this, that he does see what you're saying out there. He sees it, and that's kind of tough. And for him to already be talking about it, know what he's getting himself into, how do you not sit back? Again, as a dad, looking at it and saying to yourself, wow, that's pretty mature for a young man to be stepping into a situation where he knows there's a lot of people, sadly, rooting against him. But for all you out there that are in the comments section, because he sees you, we all see you, and everybody in our business as well, you're all hypocrites, because you do the same thing for your son or your daughter in this situation. And in fact, in many businesses, it does happen. So let's just put all that stuff aside, the idea of nepotism and everything else. The other part of it is pick 55 through 60. You're talking about the rarity of a player becoming something. Isaiah Thomas, the second Isaiah Thomas, was the 60th pick. You see picks at 55, 56, Manu Ginobili, like some names like that come up. Those are the rare ones. Aside from that, it's usually a name you can't pronounce and somebody that stays over in Europe and never gets here. So they're taking a player who they know has a great pedigree. Let's all agree. He comes from good stock, does he not, right?
Yeah.
They say that a lot of times about athletes. Like they always talk about the athletes. Look at the parents. How are the parents, right?
Yeah.
His parents are pretty good, wouldn't you say? Especially dad. And so you know he's going to work. You know he's going to do whatever it takes. If they can turn him into something great. If he doesn't, it's the 55th pick. Who cares? It's amazing that Dalton Knecht is their first-round pick, and he was an afterthought in this press conference.
He was there as well.
He was there. I mean, and look, I think, Bronny James, like Bobby said, he should just spend all next year in the G League. I know we're going to pay a lot of attention to G League games now because that's what we're going to do here, but Jordan Walsh was the 38th pick in the draft last year by the Celtics, an early second-round pick, 19-year-old kid. He played 45 minutes over the first 80 games of the season, right? He spent all year in the G League. Obviously, the Celtics are a deeper team, but this is what happens when you're picked in the second round. You spend the year in the G League. That's where Bronny James is going to be, and we'll see over time if he can become an Aaron Holiday-type player. Like, that's what his path is. We'll see if we can
Rich
get
Paul
there.
has to let him. I'm not worried about LeBron and his presence. I'm not worried about JJ Redick and his. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. They're invested. LeBron, we know, is invested. JJ better be invested, right? The Lakers will be invested. Rich Paul has been invested in promoting him to this point. You gotta let him ride the buses. You gotta let him play in the G League. You gotta let him show some humility and be at the level of the guys he's at right now and not carry himself above all that. He has got to be a grinder and earn that respect his way. You got to let him do it.
All right, Bronny James, obviously a big story of the draft. One of the big stories of free agency so far is another father-son one. Klay Thompson's father, Michael, had this to say.
Not feeling too much in a congratulatory mood right now. Because, obviously it's Klay's decision. It's his life. He's a grown man, 34 years of age, just like we were 34 at one time. Scal, Frank, and our father used to give us advice. And, we would go choose our own path. And that's fine. That's what life is supposed to be about. But I'm really disappointed. I was hoping, as you can assess, that he would be a Laker, and it was close. It came down to the Lakers and the Mavs, but the Mavs won out. But you know me, I was hoping and praying he'd finish his career with the Lakers.
This sounds like a father talking about his son's decision, but it also sounds like an upset Lakers fan.
Upset Laker employee, Michael Thompson.
How'd the Lakers miss out on Klay?
They missed out on Klay because they haven't been very good for a while, right? The Dallas Mavericks just were in the NBA Finals. The Lakers lost in 5 games in the first round. That's really the difference here. Klay Thompson picked a chance to go play on a team where he's got a chance to win a title or at least be in the NBA Finals, as opposed to going home to play for the Lakers, to play for the team his dad used to play for, is now the color commentator on the radio for, and he'd have a chance to maybe make the playoffs. That's really what we're talking about here. And this goes all the way back to the Russell Westbrook trade and all the disastrous ramifications that have come from that, to where the Lakers just aren't good enough to really be a championship caliber team. And they don't really have a path to getting there. Even if they use their first round picks and go make a move, they can't really get anywhere close to Oklahoma City, Dallas, Denver, Minnesota. These teams atop the West, they're just way too far ahead. Doesn't really matter what option they try to go with, and Klay Thompson certainly wasn't going to change that.
Bobby, we're living in this new world with the new CBA and the aprons and all this kind of stuff. I feel like everything I've learned about the apron setup has been from listening to you on various ESPN shows. So can you please explain to us as simply as you can why the Lakers are in this situation where they're not able to maybe get the players they want?
Yeah, I think the Lakers are best described, if we're using a checking account, they're overdrawn right now. And here's why. If they re-sign LeBron James to a $50 million contract, they are at the $189 million second apron. So what does that mean? That means the inability to go out and make a trade and bring back more money. So if they're trying to trade D'Angelo Russell, they can't bring back a $20 million player. If that all-star becomes available, that's earning $35 million. They can't move Russell and a player like Rui Hachimura. So it really limits them. It takes away some of the resources. Listen, they would love to go out and get DeMar DeRozan, the Chicago Bulls forward here. But there's no pathway for them to go out and do it unless, of course, they move that D'Angelo Russell contract. But there's only a few teams that were willing to absorb it right now. So it limits what you can do and add outside of your own roster. If you're going to be in the apron, like Boston is, you better love your team. And the Celtics are a team that can kind of get away, at least for now, of being a high-spending team.
And by the way, if they got DeMar DeRozan, they wouldn't be in much different a position either. They still wouldn't be good enough to contend for anything. DeMar DeRozan's a really good player. That just shows how far away they are.
Yeah, and really what starts to become is this. All right, so the mistakes were made after they made some trades. They get to the Western Conference Finals. You also win a championship in the bubble and make some mistakes after that. So that's all the stuff that leads to where you are today, because the behemoth that is LeBron James is on this team. He's still at his age one of the great players in the game, but he can't singularly lead a team to a finals like we've seen him do earlier in his career, but he's still being paid a lot of money. It's almost like for the Lakers to get out from underneath this issue, it's probably going to have to be when LeBron James does walk away from the game.
Wow. So what we're saying is as long as LeBron is there, it's going to be tough for the Lakers to field a contending team again, title contending team again?
Well, because of the mistakes they made, not because it's not LeBron's fault.
I get it.
But that number is such a huge number that it's the quickest way to get out from underneath.
But then they're not replacing LeBron with a talent anyway. The Lakers are in trouble for a while.